It is time for the North to pull up to the South. It is time for New York to pull up to Alabama.
All right. So, in case y'all don't speak hood, she's telling everybody in the North to start the next Civil War. This is where we are. I didn't have this on my bingo card. I didn't have it as the 2026 Democrat strategy to start a civil war. But here we are. And so many of you over the year or so have said, Barry, you know, why are we even seeing this? Why are you even showing this to us? And even Trump has said, you know, I watch some of this stuff because I need to know what they're thinking. Well, now, what they're doing right now, you cannot look away from. You have to prepare. You have to know what they're trying to do, how they are trying to, even the fact that she's giving a speech behind freaking bulletproof glass, the message that it's sending. She knows there's nobody there to take a shot at her. It's not about that. It's about the message that we are at war. You see that the whole thing that what's his face said, this didn't work.
We are in an era of maximum warfare. Everywhere, all the time.
It didn't work. So now they really have to go to maximum warfare everywhere all the time. And they're going to attack using the easiest common denominator, stupid white people. And I say that because what I'm going to show you isn't directed at you, isn't directed at me, isn't directed at, quote, people who look like me. The message they're sending are to stupid white people who do believe that black people are losing their right to vote. Because they also know that historically, most wackos who take shots at things, they're not black people. So they've got to incite and try to do something to get some white liberal person absolutely bonkers. So we're going to have her sit behind bulletproof glass to give the impression as though she's under attack, that they're coming for her when that could be further from the case. And so now you have to realize, as what I'm going to show you, is that they have begun a different kind of maximum warfare. They are now trying to stir up and create a civil war. Her exact words, hey, you got to pull up in the South. Seriously? Seriously.
It is time for all of us to come to Georgia, to Louisiana, to Tennessee, to Mississippi, and let them know exactly what they have uncorked with this injustice. They think they can draw us out of power. They do not know the sleeping giant that they just awakened.
So I live in the South, and I can tell you after last night going out to dinner and seeing other black people, nobody down here was freaking out. No, nobody was looking at, the sleeping giant that's awakened. They're trying to create that sleeping giant. They're trying to get the orcs ready. Got to send them out on a march. Got to pull up. I don't think she understands. The last time there was a civil war, the South was defeated. But back then, the North had a bunch of fighting men. Right now, I don't know if she's been paying attention in the last 100 years, but most of the men up north with their man buns and their fifis, their feelings, they ain't the kind of people that really want to pull up down here in the South. I'm telling you, you pull up here in the South, there's a bunch of women that'll make you just pee your pants. Never mind, get to the guys. And then you're telling people go to Louisiana? You want to tell people they need to pull up in Louisiana? You know, there's this thing called a bayou, and then you just disappear. What are you trying to do? You're trying to get people killed or get them to kill.
Because it is not a coincidence, and our whole country must understand that it was not until voting rights were ratified in this country that we got the Great Society.
Nobody accused her of being stupid. Look up the Great Society and the Voting Rights Act and see the timing of those two things. But don't stop her.
Because when Black Americans have the right to vote and that vote is protected, our schools get funded. When voting rights are protected, healthcare gets expanded.
I don't know. Nobody didn't tell me I can't vote. I'm sorry. My sister's in Connecticut. They can still vote. I had posted something to PayPal, the other congresswoman who says it's horrible. Everybody's losing everything. I'm like, can you find these people? Can you take pictures or videos of these people who lost their vote? Because right now it's looking like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. I don't know this thing exists. I don't know these black people anywhere in the country who all of a sudden woke up and can't vote. But they're going to go with this message because white liberals think it's true. Black people look around and, what do you mean? I can vote anytime I want. What in the hell are you talking about?
Voting rights are protected, our country moves forward. In Montgomery, that's what they're actually afraid of. They're afraid of us coming together. They're afraid of us protecting one another. Alabama is the crucible.
Oh gosh.
Georgia is the crucible. Tennessee, Louisiana, Mississippi is the crucible. So if you are not from here, it is time to pull up.
Okay. Notice she didn't say Florida, so I guess we don't have to worry yet. It's just Alabama, Louisiana, and Georgia. I guess you're going to go after all those places first. Mississippi. Good luck, honey. Pull up. Go ahead, pull up on some of these people who are walking around and watch what happens. You're going to get people hurt. You're going to have some of these crazy liberals decide they're going to go into Mississippi or Louisiana or Alabama, and they're going to start talking some crap. They're going to start to smack, and they're going to get hurt. They might get disappeared. This is dangerous, but this is where the Democrats are right now. They got nothing left. Let's just stir up a civil war. Let's tell everybody, pull up.
Because what they thought was the final blow is actually just the opening silo.
Hey! What's this lying around shit?
Well, what the hell are we supposed to do, you moron?
War's over, man. Wormer dropped the big one.
What? Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
That's how I felt watching her. It was the opening silo. And like everybody online was like, what in the hell is she talking about? You think that was the first time? That was the opening silo. Obviously, she meant to say salvo, but to her, it's the same thing as the Germans bombing Pearl Harbor. She had no idea what the hell she's talking about. She was on a roll. Let her roll. Hey, pull up because we just threw a bunch of grain at them or corn or something. Yeah, that's what we did. It was the opening silo. I'm like, if you are in these areas and you're listening to this insanity, you're gonna get yourself hurt or worse. Please, this is like a public service announcement. This isn't a game. You are insane for trying to tell people to pull up into the South. That's what they want. I want to take a second and tell you about the sponsor of today's video. Did you know that U.S. life expectancy peaked at 78 years old in 2014, and it's now declining worldwide because we're aging faster than ever? Toxins, chemicals, and modern stressors are hitting us really hard. But scientists discovered kimchi actually slows aging at the cellular level. Now you can get all that power in one capsule, Kimchi One. Over 900 probiotic strains plus antioxidants and enzymes that support digestion, metabolism, skin health, and immunity. 100% made in the USA, all natural, non-GMO. Click the link below in the description and use code Barry for 25% off, or call 888-418-6738 right now for up to 50% off plus free shipping. Feel younger starting today with Kimchi One from Brightcore. Now back to the video.
It's our generation's time to respond to the assaults. You see, we have seen this before, where some people in black robes try to deny or take away our rights.
We are here because a white supremacist dictator known as President Donald Trump thought he could silence us.
This is dangerous. And I know, again, I've done enough shows where people are like, why are we hearing this stuff? Because they're about to pull up to you, whatever the hell that means. They're trying to do everything they can to create a color revolution here in America. They can't win. They have decided the only thing we can do is to have a bunch of George Floyd riots across the country in the South. Let's disrupt these people. Let's not let them have their good lives. Let's not let them watch football this season. We have to go down there and, quote, pull up.
They can stop a movement. You can rig a map, but you can't rig a movement.
It is a great injustice, and we're here collectively in righteous indignation. I have to just tell the truth. There are people in this hostile anti-black administration that would rather black Americans pick cotton than pick the president.
Yeah, you heard her. They would rather you pick cotton than pick a president. We're laughing right now. It's a joke. We're sitting here going, but there are people who they're talking to. That's who I'm concerned with. I'm concerned with the little guy who's sitting in his mama's basement playing, I don't know, Mario Brothers 12 hours a day, who realizes life is hopeless, and he's going to take up the mantle of helping the black peoples who can't vote anymore. Never taking the opportunity to say, hey, can you vote? Yeah, I can vote. No, they don't want you to find that out. We're going to tell you they're stripping it away, and there's a Klan white supremacist president. Just the fact that they're saying this stuff, I don't know how they're even allowed to say it, but as you're seeing this, understand this is a concentrated, coordinated attack. They have nothing else they can do but to rile people up.
Then pick their congressperson. Then pick a senator.
Appearing to have no historic or current knowledge of the state of America and race relations. But he actually thinks he's not like them. You know what I'm saying? The N-words.
This reinvigorated talk about Jim Crow and the past of this country. And as someone who is a direct descendant of a slave, as someone whose great-great-grandfather was born on a plantation, I can assure you, slavery is over. Jim Crow is dead.
What kind of self-hatred, self-hating person could even think that?
I had put up a post about Mr. Lemon, and I guess, again, the intelligence level of people on the left it doesn't reach the top. Because if you reach the top, as you're looking at this guy, and I hate to put the visual in your head, but sometime after he turned off the camera and decided to have dinner, he whips out the jar of Vaseline and turns butt up to a white guy. Let that sink in. Oh, it's racism everywhere except for the guy who's doing stuff to me. That's not racist. He's one of the good whites. So then it's not racism because the guy has decided that he wants to, do stuff with you. But that's okay. You're not supposed to realize that that's a white guy doing it. And lest I tell you otherwise, you have to look away from Kamala. Oh yeah, Kamala's married to a white Jewish man. Let that sink in. A white Jewish man is doing things to Kamala that the white guy is doing with Fluffy Lemon here. But then there's all this racism, and there's anti-Jewish stuff. Make all this make sense. Because it's not supposed to make sense. You're not supposed to ask any questions. You're just supposed to listen to the MK Ultra message and understand that white people in the South are the problem. Not the guy who's bending me over like Gumby later. The ones down there in Alabama and all those things. Those are the bad white peoples.
What kind of self-hatred and delusion must you have in order to think something like that? How do you even look in the mirror? How do you sleep at night? What do you tell your kids? What do you tell your kids? What do you tell your black kids? Because I don't know. I think maybe he's...
You ain't never going to have to worry about that, though, huh?
No, in an interracial marriage, I have nothing against that, but your kids are still black, right? Because you're in an interracial marriage. So what do you...
Notice that? That's something I grew up with all my life. Your kids are black, even if you're in an interracial marriage. Who determined that? Who determined that the 1 ounce of black blood makes you black? Well, when he said that, he didn't realize he was repeating the racial stuff from all over the place, South, North, everything. Who determined, whose decree was it, if you're married to a person of the other race, that they're automatically black kids? That's racist in itself. That is the most racist statement that people have accepted forever. And he just said it. Self-hating? What do you mean self-hating? I'm married to a white woman. I'm not a slave. I ain't never been a slave. I don't know no slaves. What are you talking about?
Tell your kids. How do you deal with your constituents? He says, well, I'm in I'm in a majority white district, but maybe that's why he feels that he is not like them, that he's one of them.
Well, look, we see what they're trying to do. They're trying to rig maps and dilute African-American voices in the House of Representatives. This is overt. We know exactly the end they're trying to create, which is a removal, in some states completely, of black representation in the House of Representatives. This smacks of the post-Reconstruction period. There they used terror. There they used poll taxes. There they lynched people, and they used the law.
So when Virginia wanted to, elect a governor, and the other candidate was a black woman, y'all all said to vote for Spansberger, who is a white woman. How do you jive that? Here's the black woman, and we want you to vote for the white woman. But I thought it was all about black representation. Not that kind of black representation. Not Republicans. We'd rather have a white woman instead of a black woman. So it's not really about race, it's ideology is what you're saying. Because in Memphis, it was Steve Cohen. Steve Cohen, where was he? Well, he's white. Taken away? Again, people don't think this, they're not saying it. And who's going to take Steve Cohen's place? A black woman. So then how are we getting away from black representation, if that's even something we need to worry about, if a black woman is taking his place? They won't even talk about it. I bet you may not have known that a black woman is probably, but she's Republican. So it's not about race. You're just trying to gaslight people even more. Down here, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she's about to get redistricted. James Clyburn's about to get redistricted in South Carolina, but nobody's talking about who the replacements might be.
A broken law, immoral law to try to stop blacks from voting and having representation.
I cannot understand, and maybe you can explain it to me, how anyone could be black and be a MAGA supporter right now with what has happened, especially with what before that for me, but what has happened with voting rights in this country and what they're doing. I don't.
Am I weird? Am I somehow kind of fell into 2026 and not realized I'm oppressed? Robin knows I'm oppressed. I cannot believe you're a MAGA and you're black with everything going on. What's going on? All I know is we've seen prosperity. We've seen freedom. We've seen people get out of the way, government get out of the way. What has been going on? How are you MAGA and black? Pretty simple. I think for myself.
I don't get it. I don't know. And some people are defending it, even black MAGA, black folks, black lawmakers.
What sounds more racist? As you're trying to convince people that people in the South are racist, you are telling black people who make their own minds up, who support MAGA, that there's something wrong with you. Well, who are you talking to then? You're trying to drum up people to have some sort of problem with people like me. Many people out there who are black, who are MAGA, and you don't even know how it could possibly be. Why don't you talk to one of us? Why don't you see? You know the answer to that question, but the people watching your shit, excuse my language, they don't know. The white liberals are the ones you're trying to talk to.
Look, it's similar to the log cabin Republicans, and I can't see how how gay Republicans or gay people can be part of a party that doesn't even believe that they should exist.
I'm black, I'm Republican, I'm MAGA, I'm Christian, and I've never felt that gay people should not exist. I may not like the lifestyle. I may think the lifestyle is counter to what I believe spiritually, but I don't know anybody who's saying that they shouldn't even exist. I've never really run into anybody who said that. But see, the problem is they're not saying it to make any sense. They're trying to rile up nuts. And his job, whoever's reached out to him, has said, rile these people up. Let them know that they don't even want you to exist. I don't even know what you're talking about.
It doesn't believe that they are, I guess, deserving of the rights of every American. I don't get that, and I just don't understand how MAGA, there are black MAGA. Look, there's black MAGA. I don't know if you remember during, I think it was 24 election or whatever, when people were talking young, black, and MAGA. So,
yeah.
Wait, what? I mean, there are words that I just won't say here, but I think it's inappropriate. I will say self-hating is one term that I would use for it. Naive is another term that I would use for it.
I'm self-hating and I'm naive. I'm stupid. I hate myself. I can tell you, everybody who knows me, the last thing they would say is Barry hates himself. They'd be like, tone it down a little bit. He kind of in love with himself, okay? There ain't nothing about him hating himself. Maybe arrogant, maybe cocky. Self-hating ain't going to be one of the descriptions anybody uses for me.
And then a milder term would be pick me is another term that I would use for it.
You know, we still have Democrats who are acting like this is early 2000s politics. You know, that world of normalcy of our politics is gone. You know, we are in the midst of, we have to say that this is a war. It's a war for the future of our democracy.
There you go. See, we can laugh at it, we can shun it, but you better be prepared. This is where it's going. They're actually saying it. Believe them when they say what they say. You know, when Hakeem came out with the crap that he said, I didn't know it was going to evolve to this.
We are in an era of maximum warfare. Everywhere, all the time.
So let me ask you a question. I've made this question to you many a time. I'm going to ask it again. Do these people sound like they're winning? You know, every pollster and the panic is everybody says we're going to lose the midterms. If that's the case, why are we in a war? Why are you trying to pull up the people in the South? Why are you worried? It's over. You got it. The midterms, you're done. You're going to win. Watch what they do instead of what people say. But at the same time, you got to get prepared.